me and Charles of Wizards. I'm here with Chris Comley, also
Hello.
of Wizards. And we're here today to talk to you about internet connectivity, and specifically the connectivity which we can help, which we can provide, and which we can help you with. Our reason for existence is that we're here for you to talk to. We are techies you can talk to, and we need to work with you to understand what your requirements are, and how you can best service that. To begin with, the fundamental part of this is that we need to basically state that internet connectivity is absolutely vital to your business. If you lose internet connectivity, you are dead in the water. You can't trade, you can't take orders, you potentially can't use your CRM or make phone calls. There's lots and lots of things which are now completely dependent on your internet connectivity. You can't wait for the postman to turn up to find out what's in the order book for today.
It's increasingly going that way. I mean, it used to be there were companies that were heavily dependent on the internet, and there were those who could take it or leave it and not worry too much. But it's getting harder and harder to do anything about the internet. VAT returns are more or less all done online these days. Your monthly PAYE reporting means logging into the government gateway. And there might still be ways around it for some folks who still haven't got the facilities, but they are dwindling, and the government certainly are more and more insisting that to do anything, buying a tax disc for your car, for example, you're going to have internet connectivity.
And there's no disc?
There's a virtual disc.
Yeah, well, of course it is. Of course it is. You're still, they still refer to it on all the car chase shows as your rent. So you're paying your rent. So whether you paid your car tax.
Well, one of the things we find is that, especially since the advent of broadband, prior to broadband coming along around 1999, 2000, quite a lot of companies would have, the basic level was dial-up. But beyond that, a lot of companies would have a lease line if they had heavier requirements for internet access. We found the sales of lease lines a permanent connection, which we treat broadband as a permanent connection. But we'll come on to in a minute reasons why it's not quite the same thing. A lease line has a high availability, guaranteed level of connection. If it goes off for any reason, engineers in vans are rushing around within minutes to try and find out what's gone wrong and fix it. With broadband, that's not the case.
Nope.
With broadband, it can go wrong on, say, we had this happen. It went wrong on a Thursday. It was Friday lunchtime before we'd managed to confirm that it was definitely not a problem with the customer's router, which is the first thing we have to work out, whether or not it's any of the equipment at the customer site. Once we proved that wasn't the case, we had escalated it to BT to fix the underlying network. BT don't work on broadband problems for the most part over the weekend.
Right.
So by the time they assigned an engineer to it, it was past the weekend. It was a
Right.
holiday weekend, so that meant Tuesday morning.
Yep.
Tuesday morning there wasn't an engineer available at the right exchange, so an engineer finally went to the exchange on the Wednesday. It took about half an hour to find the problem, fixed it, the broadband came straight back up again. But that's a week.
Yep.
That's a whole week without connectivity. You need to basically ask yourself, can you survive a week without broadband? And these guys couldn't.
Yeah, well, if you're a retail business or you're selling to retailers and so on, you are in a 7-day-a-week business. You've got to be up all the time.
Yeah. So we have a small chain of shops that we deal with where they only have a single ordinary broadband connection to each office. They were without one of those for nearly a week. Made a lot of complaints, but actually they managed, because the other shops were all online and the central warehouse was online. They managed without it for a week, but they really need to review that position, because broadband can go wrong for a week, or possibly, worst case, 2 weeks. And it's no good shouting and ranting. That won't get it fixed faster, and you're not going to get compensation in any way related to the amount of business you may have lost. So you need to review what can happen. Talk to us about how long you can last without your internet, and we will help you find a way of ensuring that you don't have to.
Right. Okay. So we can provide you with alternatives to your broadband, which might include what? Satellite.
Well, the cheapest entry level, if you like, to an increased level of resilience would be a second broadband connection,
Right.
which, wherever possible, we would do through a different network. And we are in a position to find out what networks are available at any given location. So if you've got a shop in the high street, for example, and your current broadband line is provided over a BT link, that doesn't necessarily mean you're buying it from BT, but that means that underneath it's on the BT network, and that whoever you're paying for it is using the BT network.
Right.
We could then find out, for example, whether or not TalkTalk network was available at that location, and provide a second broadband connection which uses the TalkTalk connection.
Right.
That means you've now got two different internet connections over two different networks. It's still possible they could both go wrong, but the chances are, if one of them goes wrong, the other one will keep working. If one of them has a problem at the exchange, it won't affect the other one. You've got an increased level of resilience already.
4G?
There are ways of connecting. Yep, if you've got a 4G signal at your location, and it's worth finding out, but just take your phone outside and see if it tells you you've got a 4G signal. We can provide a router which will connect you to the internet using a 4G data SIM. But in all other respects, it'll work just like your broadband router. So you just plug in all your computers and printers, your laptops and phones and tablets work by Wi-Fi. It's more expensive than broadband, but it's working, and your broadband isn't, and that's the important thing.
Absolutely. And what about things like if I fancy some new premises, I fancy fancy working out in the sticks. I've got a nice farm building that I'm looking to take over. I'm a mile and a half from the nearest road, and what's our position there? What do I need to do before we move in?
Well, what we actively encourage anybody to do before they even sign a lease is talk to us. We will find out what the prospects are for broadband or other connectivity at that location. And if it's important to your business that you have good connectivity, and we find that you can't, you might want to think again about your nice country location.
Yep.
It does matter. Otherwise, there are lots of different toys in the box. So we can look at broadband, we can look at fibre, we can look at lease lines, we can look at satellite, we can look at 4G. But these can work out more expensive if you're used to paying only, say, £20 a month for a broadband link. And now the only way of getting the connectivity that you need in your nice rural location is to pay £400 a month for a fibre lease line. You need to factor that in.
Having had to spend tens of thousands of pounds digging the road up to get the line in.
It can be expensive to install it in the first place, yes.
Right.
We had one customer who was facing bills of very nearly £30,000 just to install it.
Yes. So lots of considerations there. Talk to us. We are the techies you can talk to. Wizards.co.uk. And was there anything else we need to say? Okay, thanks very much. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.